Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video under Cracked Wide Open, where we crack consciousness wide open. Hi, I'm Star. Today I want to talk a little bit, discuss some thinking, some emotions, and some ego, and point a few things out for you guys. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to come in, and I'm going to go ahead and call consciousness in, please. Deep breath in. One more. I just love the way that makes me feel inside. It just makes me feel so warm and so beautiful. So today I wanted to discuss some things about some thinking, about emotions, and talk a little bit about the ego, and maybe give you guys a few pointers along the way. How are you? I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to give a second for me to catch my breath here. Think about what I want to say. Okay. Well, I've been getting a lot of questions about, some people are asking this about the seat of the mind. Again, some people are asking what the thinking mind is. Some are asking about the ego. And so I thought I would share a little bit about it. Others are asking about how the emotions occur in the body. And so I'm going to point a few things out, and then we'll discuss it, and everybody can ask questions if they want to. And if they just don't want to ask any, that's fine too. The ego is the unobserved mind. You've heard me say it before. Ego is pathological. Its dysfunction causes suffering and samsara, and I would consider it even schizophrenic. There is a split in object-subject split. It's the little voice in the head, right? Now, most of the collective beings are so identified with this voice in the head that they mistake it for who they really are. You're the light of Christ consciousness. That's who you are. I'd like to point out here, if the head that's giving you commentary, ask yourself a couple questions. Who's asking you those questions? Who's telling you those things? And when you speak back to it and you have a dialogue with the voice in the head, who's having the dialogue with the voice? Who is the voice and who's the person speaking back to the voice? Those are pointers. Okay, you have to ask those questions. Only you can ask those questions of yourself so that you become aware of awareness, because consciousness will recognize itself the minute it sees itself. So if the ego is unconscious and it's unobserved, that means it's unconscious. You don't know you're even doing it, and it's not even observable. Okay, so it's unconscious and unobserved. You don't even know it's there. You don't even know it's occurring, and it's no fault of your own. So cut yourself some slack. I didn't know either. And 99.9% of the human beings don't know. That's why it only happens to 1%. We need to increase this 1% to 100%, right? Because most of the sentinel beings are slumbering. And when I say slumbering, I mean they're unconscious. And I'm going to get into that. This is why I'd like to talk about it in this way, because I'm experienced it myself. I've gone through it myself. When you have this hero's journey, I would like to point out it's a hero's journey. It's a journey you do on your own. No one takes it for you. No one can give it to you. No one can find it for you. It's all your journey. It's personal to you, and it's the hero's journey. It's your greatest accomplishment in life that you will ever succeed at. And you will say that to yourself. And the very first thing you'll learn is that there's no death, and that you are the light of consciousness, and that you are just evolving as the universe evolves. We're evolving with Gaia. Okay. So I want to talk about it in this way because I'm experiencing it, and I think it's easier to explain for me when I'm going through it as I go through it. I've explained many times before that the mind is the seed for the body, and nothing is good or bad, and it's only what your mind tells you is right. So if you say it's bad, it's bad. If you say it's good, it's good. If you say it's nothing at all, doesn't even faze you, then that's what it is. You're feeding the mind, the brain. Okay. What are you feeding it? If the ego is unobserved, which is the unobserved mind, yes, means you don't see it. I don't even know it's there. So how could I become aware of it? Okay, that's a good question somebody asked. Very good question. I point back to the hero's journey, that it's personal, and certain evolutionary processes happen within the human body, and metamorphosis happens from the inside out. And according to your stage in life is how quickly you will become aware of consciousness by the opening up of the chakras and gaining the wisdom, life's wisdom. Okay. Wisdom in the Webster's dictionary doesn't even come close to what the word means in validity. It's where you've repeated a lesson so many times over that you could do it by the back of your hand. Just look at the back of your hand and you do it again, right? And you get the same results. Well, when you change something and you get a different result, you gain the wisdom of how that end result changed by you changing that one little thing in between, right? But we have a tendency to run on the ego, the unobserved mind, the little voice in the head, and that we've all carved out for ourselves. You've heard me speak of her. I call her the Judy Jetsons. I think Eckhart Tolle says it's just the egoic mind. It is. It's just the egoic mind, but it's an auto program. It's an autopilot program, so to speak. Like I was telling you, if you get on a jet, right, and you have all these instruments in front of you, and you turn the jet all on, and it gets going. There's some point in the air where you can turn that jet on autopilot, right? Okay. And it does everything for itself automatically, right? Unless there's a real traumatic issue, I guess. The body does the same thing. The body does the exact identical same thing. The seed that you're planting in the mind is the seed you're giving to the body. You're feeding it to the body. It's no different than putting a flower in the soil. If you don't water the flower, it's not going to flourish. It's not going to grow and get petals and flowers and come out in the sun and close back down at night. Who do you think's doing that? It's an innate intelligence that's within you doing that in nature, and it's happening within you too. You're just unaware because you're running on the Judy Jetson's egoic program, the unobserved mind, meaning you don't see it. And if you don't see it, you can't do anything about it. Yes, I don't even know it's there, so I'm unaware. That's the conundrum. That's the veil being up. You're unaware, you're unconscious, you're slumbering, and you're walking around life on the Judy Jetson's program, which is your limited belief pattern, your thoughts, everything you were taught and given to you in your rearing, your uprearing. And by the time you were 8, you knew who you were, you knew your name, you had an identity, you knew what you were supposed to do, what your functions in life were supposed to be, according to whether you were a female or a male. Somebody had it all figured out for you. And so all the things they taught you and told you, are they true today? Do they hold value today? Ego is the unobserved mind. The minute you ask the investigatory question to the mind, who is that speaking? Who is it speaking back to it? The minute you do that, you bring awareness into the unobserved mind. You're bringing your awareness into the unobserved mind, and you're allowing that space, that opportunity to come in, right? Because you don't see it, but someone's telling you something. So if you ask those gentle questions to yourself and you allow your intuition to answer, consciousness knows itself the second it sees it. So when the veil comes down and spirit makes you aware, then you'll have awareness. That's why we call it awareness or consciousness. So let's discuss it a little bit. What are emotions? Somebody asked, what are those? Our emotions are the reactions to the unobserved mind. So the unobserved mind is telling the brain a thought, and it's not a good thought, and it causes and not a good so much emotion in the body, fear, anxiety, angst, worry, worthlessness. And those emotions are the reaction to the unobserved mind, the seed you're feeding the unobserved mind. And emotions are energy in motion. Okay? So when you have an emotion, it's going to act itself out in motion, because energy is emotions in motion. So now you're going to act fearful. Your hands might get sweaty. You might start having some palpitations, some butterflies in your stomach, feeling very nervous, complaining about some in the body, right? So those emotions are just energy that's in motion from the unobserved mind, and it's acting out the emotions in the body. Okay? It's acting them out in the body. I'm sure you've seen it on a playground where one boy challenges another boy and he hits him, and the other boy, well, do I hit him or do I not? That's a thought in the mind that was fed in the mind that gave them an emotion of anger, and they worked it out in motion by hitting one another on the playground because of fear, because of anger, because of whatever it was that caused the little scuffle on the, playground. So our emotions, again, are simply the reactions to the unobserved mind. And those emotions are energy in a motion form, a moving form. Okay. And so that is the acting out of the emotions, and you are going to feel it in your body. Because ego is unconscious, remember? Ego cannot survive with consciousness present. It shrivels down and goes, and it dies. It is no match for consciousness. So ego is the unobserved. Consciousness is the observed. So remember that the voice in the head is the unobserved mind. Okay? Just try to remember that. The mind, it is unobserved if you're slumbering and not awake, right? And so you're not aware of it. So don't be hard on yourself. When you try to say, I can't meditate because I have all these thoughts or all these voices or all these things coming through my head, it's okay. It's okay. It takes time. It takes practice. You didn't learn how to tie your shoe the first time you tried it either, or ride your bike the first time, or the alphabet the first time, or read a book the first time. You had to practice, right? And so that's why it's emotions in motion. You're practicing it. You're acting it out in body and physical form. Spirit consciousness gives rise to thought. Why? Because consciousness wants us to manifest something in reality in this physical form. That's how we got all these beautiful, beautiful inventions. And on the flip side of that coin, that's how we got all the bad of those things as well, such as social media. Social media is a phenomenal platform when used correctly, right? But it's in the hands of unconscious collective people. And we're looking for our worth, our love, our happiness, our joy, and our bliss in people, places, and things, which will be short-lived. And then you'll be off and looking in another place. And then when that's done, you'll be off and doing it again. And it's a habitual hamster wheel. So it's no fault of your own. And you have to go through the journey to gain the wisdoms of the lessons that you keep dishing out for yourself, right? So emotions are just simply the unobserved mind, as well as, and it's just the unobserved mind. That's why I say, remember you guys, I told you, if you have a thought, just sit back for 2 seconds and say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? And then don't engage that thought, and do as I remember I had suggested, walk it like a dog. There was a Rottweiler down the street, and it had a collar on and a leash, and you're walking by. I guarantee you're not going to grab that dog because you don't know if it's going to harm you or not. So you're going to walk on by. Walk on by the thought, because the minute you engage the thought, regardless if it's bad or good or indifferent, remember, it's only what your mind says is so. So if you have a thought and your mind says it's a bad thought, then your body's going to feel the bad emotion of the bad thought that you put in the mind, because the mind is the seed for the body. Does that make better sense? I hope so. So try and think about it as emotions are simply unobserved until you engage them. Once you engage them, you are bound to act them out in your body in one way, shape, or form. They will manifest in physical form. That's the law of the universe. Now you can see that the manifestations or the behaviors that are being displayed, like I was talking about on the kids on the playground, they had a thought of fighting and thought of anger, and one hit another. And then you could actually see the manifestation of the behavior being displayed on the playground. You could observe the anger. You could observe the boys hurting one another over probably a very frivolous little child game that they were playing, and one didn't win, right? So it's no different than that. It's no different. If you feel an emotion, that's going to cause us some sort of reaction in your body. And now this is all based, of course, on the voice in the head, what it's telling you. It's kind of like yeah, I see that, Spirit. I've been saying it for a while now. It's like if you looked into a kaleidoscope and you saw all the different circles that it went in, that's kind of the energy loops that we're in, right? And we're on a grid. We're on a magnetic, energetic grid, right? That is so vast with such possibilities and probabilities that you have no idea, right? And so when you see these circles and they go this way and they go this way and they go this way, well, in retrospect to what I'm speaking about right now, the biofeedback loop, you have a thought. The thought's not good. It creates an emotion. and the emotion is now in the body, and you feel angry and you feel anxious, and now you're acting it out, right? Now you've acted it out. Now you feel bad because you acted poorly. And now it's looped itself back up on another thought, think, oh God, I'm shit. I'm nothing. I knew better than to act that way. And now you've looped it back around on itself again. And it just is a biofeedback loop that just keeps looping back on itself until it caves in on itself. And that's in Eastern terms, they call it karma. And so when you get off that karmic hamster wheel, right, when spirit brings the veil down, or you take modalities and measures into your hands to walk a middle road and to find consciousness, yes, when the veil comes down, it'll be much easier for you. We all feel emotions in our bodies, and these emotions that we get in our bodies, they will cause a reaction in the body. And based on whether or not your mind told you the thought was good or bad or indifferent, will be your outcome. And that's called manifestation. Spirit is able and willing to oblige. Says, go, my child, go in peace, right? Until you stop looping that back on yourself, change a little something, get off the hamster wheel and say, that's what that was. That's why I kept doing that. Now you've gained wisdom, and now you've opened that door, and all you have to do is open it a crack. That's why I call it cracked wide open. Just a crack for consciousness to come in. And it's a space. And it's oh gosh, it's so unconditionally loving. It's so peaceful. It's so joyful. And it will rock you. And you will be like, where the fuck have you been my entire life? I've been looking for this my entire life in people, places, and things. And you can't find it there. Why? Because it's inside. It's inside you. It's inside you. And it's quite blissful. So I had a picture I wanted to show you, and I don't know what I did with it. I drew a picture of a circle. I'm going to see if I can get it. Hold on. This is my journal. So I drew a circle because then when I'm in meditation or something, Spirit gives me visions. And then she tells me she helped. I don't write it. I think she writes it. I'm not 100% sure. But do you see the circle here? Do you see the circle I drew? Okay. That's the same thing I was just saying. You have a thought. That's what I wrote at the top, thought. That thought's going to create an emotion. That emotion is going to come into the body, and the body is going to cause a reaction. And 9 times out of 10, the reaction is suffering or samsuriya, is going to harm you and the other person or the collective. And it's a circle. And I wrote it in a circle because that's the way she's showing me in the sky or in my meditation. My eyes are wide open when she shows me. And so she's showing me that it's a biofeedback loop that feeds back upon itself that you will eventually cave in on yourself with, because you'll reach a point in your life where you will, you when you're born into this life, you're born into it to a certain degree, and you're going crazy, growing and learning and doing everything. And then you start to descend because you're going to return home to your creator. And so one of two things happens. It's either a random an awakening, or you're going to get shoved into the kingdom of heaven like I did. And so when I would rather help you and point the way. I can't change your point of view. Unknown caller. I can't change your religion. I can't change your belief systems or your limiting behavior. I can't be in your house and show you how to do something when you're supposed to be doing it for yourself, right? I can't do any of that. All I can do is point the way. So that's all I'm doing, is making suggestions and pointing the way in what Creator is showing me. And that's another thing you'll realize, is when you have your awakening, Creator will show you your gifts, will show you the gifts that Creator bestowed upon you. And my gifts are gifts of healing and gifts of being able to see the unseen, so that I can bring back information to give to the seen, the collective. And that's what she's asking me to do, so I'm doing it. And I'm the call's universal. This is what she's asking of me. Your talents, your precious gift, your flow, your snowflake originality that you are, your beautiful light of Christ consciousness. No one else can do your job. No one. And consciousness and the collective and the other sentinel beings will fall short if you don't do your job as your soul's path on this planet. Isn't that why we're here? So if we discuss this manifestation, right, and how the law of the universe serves us, serves me, or serves our thoughts, or even comes, it comes in a form in reality. And let's see. If you say to your mind, I'm worthless, I'm worthless, I'm worthless, I'm worthless, I'm just never going to do it. I just can't, I won't. And you keep telling yourself that, you're telling the body you're worthless. And the body's going to respond accordingly. And then the law of attraction is just going to fall into place. That's the universal law of attraction. And consciousness is going to give you more things to feel worthless about. It's consciousness is flipped. It's reversed to what you think it is. Okay. So thinking is just mental static. It's no different than I told you, than like the energy, in your physical form. Your pain body is like a contractual ball that's just, all crapped up and crammed up like a fucking traffic jam, right? The thinking is just the mental static, and consciousness gives rise to thought, to you, to I, so we can think of an idea of something new, or a dream, or something we want to experience, because consciousness is experiencing itself through your physical form. And so consciousness will bring rise to those thoughts. The thinking is the static mind of the collective universe in consciousness. And again, it's the unobserved mind, but it's creating an unobserved thought, yes, which creates an emotion, which then goes into the body, and the body creates a reaction out of the unobserved thought. So it's like a conundrum, which ends up creating an emotion in your body, and you loop it back upon yourself, and you keep doing it, and every time you act out, that's what's occurring. So physical anger or fear or anxiety or worry or any of those things that you can think about, those are physical manifestations in form, in reality. Now you see it's behavior. And I've said from the very beginning, I put my channel up, when you know better, you do better, right? So now if you know it's behavior, you can modify one behavior. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not like quitting smoking or quitting drinking. It's 10 times that. And it takes diligence, and you have to be vigilant on your behalf. So if you're aware of this biofeedback loop that I'm talking about, because it's a vicious circle and it's habitual. And it's going to cave in on itself. And when it does, maybe that's when you'll be crammed into the kingdom of heaven like I was, because it's like a loop, and it repeats over and over and over and over until you say, aha, a light bulb moment. And this is when you might say, I don't know why this keeps happening to me. I don't understand why this same shit keeps happening to me. Well, that's why. Because you have mental static going on in your brain. You have an egoic conceptual ID that you've carved out for yourself based on your habitual mind pattern and your limiting belief systems you were taught growing up or reared with, from school to parents to religion to you name it, right? And it's your way, no way, or the highway, because that's the way you were taught. Ask yourself, is the way I was taught true? Does it hold validity today? Does it work for me? Or am I over and over and over repeating the same thing and getting the same results? Well, if you look up insanity, that's what the definition of insanity is: repeating the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. It's never fucking going to come. So, this biofeedback loop, it's important you understand that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You don't know. And you cannot be held responsible for something you don't know. Right? It's like, I can't hold my parents responsible for the limiting behavior and thought patterns they taught me. My parents were only capable of teaching me at the level of their consciousness, and my parents weren't conscious. And so they taught me their belief systems that they were taught and that their parents taught them. And so that was a very long time ago. So that's why I ask you, do the belief systems or limiting behavior that we keep repeating in society on a collective level true anymore? Do we have to behave that way? Do we have to act that way? Is it hold validity for me? Or am I causing sensory suffering for myself and ending up with the same results in my lab in the end? That's insane. It's schizophrenic. It's a split personality, like I said in the beginning, object, subject, split. So it's not something you're going to analytically be able to pick up a book and wrap your mind around in a second. You'll get concepts that you can begin to understand and that will fit other enlightened sentinel beings, and they'll say the same thing, maybe using a different word though, right? Because the teacher is different, but the curriculum of consciousness never changes. Only the curriculum in which the teacher teaches so that her students have a level of understanding from her or his teaching. God's not going to do that. He's going to give you the ability to teach on the capacity that your students have the ability to learn from. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So, of course, I want to point out that our emotional ego, it's going to differ from person to person, of course. Okay, so keep that in mind. And the voice in the head that tells you your little story, that you believe the story because it's based on your own habitual mind and thought patterns and upbringings, that's your story. That's your mind made up egoic story in which you have carved out for yourself over here in your brain. And it's not personal. And that's why I call her the Judy Judsons. It's almost like it takes on its own little entity, and it begins to run you like the Judy Judson's robot on autoplay. You just get up and do the same thing, same day. You know how people say, same day, same date, different shit, or whatever that saying is, something like that. You probably, by the time you've turned your alarm clock off and got to your coffee pot to turn it on, you already have a device in your hand and you're on social media to see how many likes you got from the post last night, or if someone responded to something you did, because your body is in motion with an emotion, a reaction and it wants a response. And so it's a conundrum. That's part of the process. But just know from person to person that emotional ego is going to differ. Okay. It's going to be your own personal story, and everyone suffers from this. No one is unique in any way, and they're not bypassed. Every single sentinel being on this planet suffers from this. Unless you've had a disidentification with the voice in the head, like I have, and you know you are not your thoughts, your emotions, or even your body, and you begin rocking on a vibrational cadence of the universe, and you know God is directing you, your creator, you won't know. You will be unaware, unobserved. And if it's unobserved and unaware, you cannot be so hard on yourself to kick yourself in the ass for something you're doing. You can try to learn and take the pointers. That's it. The wisdom is gained by your learning and doing the work. That's how you gain the wisdom. And everyone suffers from this. No one is unique in any way. Sometimes when I speak of the voice in the head, people look at me like I'm a deer in a headlight. And it's like, what? A voice in my, yeah, a voice in your head. You know, the one that talks to you that never shut up? No. And they're almost embarrassed to say it's there. Well, I'm not embarrassed to say it was there. Mine would tell me what I could do, how I could do it, and when I could do it. And if I did it wrong, it had something to say about that. And it changed sides, whether it was winning or losing. It did not care. And it needed an enemy. And if it couldn't find me and use me as an enemy, it used everyone else that I poked at. So everyone suffers from this unless they have disidentified with the voice in the head. One must realize it's not you. It's not you. You mistake it as you, me, my, mind, made, little me. Okay. Who is I? Who is me? Are they one and the same? Or are they two different people? Is I and self one and the same? Are you separate from your mother, from God, from Creator, from life? No, you're the light of Christ consciousness. God says it in the Bible. It says, I am the light of the world, and so are you. Come to me, my child, and the kingdom of heaven will be yours. I don't know how I know that. I don't know how I fucking know that. Everyone suffers from this, okay? So don't be so hard on yourself. Thoughts will come in so fast sometimes they will create an emotion in your body, and you will be down the rabbit hole. It's so fast you couldn't even stop it, right? All you can do is you'll be acting it out physically, right? And you won't be able to stop it. That's why it's unobserved and unconscious until you become aware. Then you're aware of it. And then you'll go, oh, that's a behavior. I can stop that, right? Now you've opened up that space that I've talked about. You've opened up that space where you can now allow consciousness to come in this space here. You're creating that opening for Creator to enter. And just by being here and listening, you're creating that opening right now. Your higher self is guiding you to what it knows is true and right. And it's listening. Whether you say you remember it tomorrow, you're taking a snapshot of it, the basal ganglia, the brain, the meninges, and the prefrontal cortex, the executor of the brain, taking a snapshot of every single thing that you do in your life and stores it for later. You ever walk in a building somewhere and say, oh God, I've been here before? Deja vu or consciousness? It's only what the mind says is so, right? But I want to say congratulations to you for being here, because you're creating this opening for a Creator to enter, and that's a beautiful thing. And just being here and listening is seeding your mind, because your mind's a seed for the body. So you're listening to the seeds of your higher self, and that is guiding you to what you want to know, what you know is true and right, because your higher self knows what's true, knows what's right, and will not guide you awry. It's beautiful. I'm creating a doorway and I'm pointing the way. That's it. You're the hero. You're the one that must take the journey. And it's sometimes a very lonely journey. And no one can take it for you. I'm telling you, your greatest accomplishment in life. It's bliss, it's unconditional love, it's rocking, love is serenading me, and innate intelligence that lies within me. I know it's there, and that regeneration, renewing, and healing is taking place because I made a conscious choice to heal. So Creator already provided the healing for me. You're just not aware yet. You will be if you have a little faith in yourself. And many people do not know about an awakening. Many don't. I didn't. And I prided myself on knowing some things. But that just shows you how ignorant I was and spiritually bankrupt. You could have filed a BK on me. Is what it is. Right? But it's unconditional love I rock in. It is loving sentinel intelligence, and it lies within me. It's innate, and it's healing, and it's loving, and it's joyful, and it's peaceful. It's peace beyond all understanding. I can't understand where the peace is coming from when around me my world crumbled. But I felt peace, so much peace. And so I'm going to get a little in depth here a little bit, and some may follow and some may not, and that's okay. Those that follow are ready to hear it, and those that aren't following it yet, maybe you're not quite ready. I've been in the medical field for a very long time. I know the human body, and I've studied everything from microorganisms to autopsy labs with cadavers and bodies and people and cells and animals and dogs. And they've worked at Trauma Bay for a very long time. I know some stuff about the body. Okay. It's neither here nor there. It's just part of the reason she chose me for this journey. I've explained to you guys, I have the ability to see the unseen. I have the ability to see with the naked eye the unseen. I can move and manipulate and shift the energy. When the person comes to me, anything alive with a sentinel heartbeat has an aura around it and its color, and I can see it immediately. And I see sacred symbolism that she's providing for me, like the circle I just showed you, and some other things that she's showing me I'll speak of later. But she's showing me cells, not just simple cells. She's showing me a simple cell, an organelle. She's showing me the nucleus. She's showing me the mitosis and the splitting. She's showing me a splitting of one cell into a multiple cell now, and it creates a chain cell and a multi-complex cell and a complex cell, and they're forming in front of me, and I can hold them, move them, shift them. And part of that is why I'm an energy healer, because I can move the energy out and away from my patients' bodies. I can remove it from their bodies. What she's showing me is that we are organism. We are an organism, okay? The universe is an organism. The universe is a vast organism, and we are created out of the universe, and we are created through Creator and born into this universe as an organism as well. This organism was housed in our mother's belly for 9 to 10 months, and it was using other organisms and organellas and dividing and mitosis and transcription to create your ears, your nose, your eyes, your heart, your liver, your lungs, and every single part of you. Okay, that's the organism. You are that organism. It is vast. It has such possibilities and probabilities, and you have no idea because you're not aware yet, and that's okay. And she's showing me that our physical bodies are an organism. I'm going to ask you to ask yourself a couple questions after I make this statement, and then you can come up with your own opinion about it. Okay. We are an organism, that our physical body is that organism, and it has an innate intelligence housed within it. Okay. Every life form is made of this organism: flowers, wildlife, bear, chickens, birds, etc., right? This intelligence, it reacts to what the mind says or is saying, and it reacts to thoughts, and those thoughts create a reaction in the body. I've shown you and stated that several times. That's called manifestation in a physical form. I'll give you another example. You get a flat tire. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're on a road you're not familiar with, and there's no one around. You don't know where you're going, right? So you get a little nervous. Your palms start to sweat. You feel a frog in your throat. Your stomach feels a little queasy. Your heart starts beating. Now you've gone into what's called a fight flight mode. It's automatic. It's you're not doing it because I'm saying I'm afraid. You're not doing it. You've thought a thought. I'm scared. I'm fearful. That thought is the seed in the mind for the body. So now the body is going to respond, and the hormones for fight flight are going to be released, and you're going to start shaking, and you're going to feel tachycardic. You're going to start to sweat and feel anxious. That's fight flight. It's automatic. You don't control that any more than you control the thinking. You don't control that either. You don't control your digestion. You don't make your heart beat. This innate energy that lies within each and every one of us does it for us, right? And so we are an organism. If we're an organism, does it not, here's a couple questions you can ask yourself. Does it not make sense to say this is why some persons over here get Alzheimer's or cancer or this or this or this, and this group of people over here don't? Is it genetic? No, because science says disease is not because of a genetic marker. Science proved that. It's the seed you're feeding the body. So if this group over here is feeding negative stuff, then they're going to have a dis in their body on a regular basis, 10 months or more, which becomes chronic. And now it's going to create a disease: cancer, heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, polycystic kidney. You're going to have a heart, anything. You can manifest anything. That's the physical form it manifests in, okay? And this group over here is feeding the organism positive, loving, kind, joyful, peaceful tidbits of information, thoughts, and thinking, right? So now their seed is telling their body a different thing. So it shows why this person over here is not sick and this person is sick, doesn't it? It's just a question. You can decide for yourself. The second thing I want to ask you is that, and you can decide for yourself too, is that if you don't believe that there's an innate energy within you that is your creator, that is providing healing for you, regeneration, rejuvenation, and actual life force, your living, breathing air you breathe, she is, he is, okay? And I'm putting together why why I'm a nurse, and you're showing me the cells, and you're showing me the organisms, and you're showing me the kaleidoscope, and I'm putting these puzzle pieces together, and they all come to me in symbolic pieces, like almost like a Tom and Jerry freaking cartoon. I swear to God, color and animated, right? And so it's not a note that I get sent to me. It's a picture, and I have to take it like one of those picture puzzles that we used to give to our kids and place the pieces where they go. And when the pieces all get put together, then I can go, aha, and then I have more wisdom, right? But she's only giving me so much at a time because she can only give me what my body can take, right? And she sees I've taken a lot of light on in 3 years, a lot of light, and I'm opened, and I have space, and I'm holding space for the collective, and I'm here to take on more light because I'm a light being. I am a light worker. I am a shamanic healer. None of those things I said right there are true. I'm not any of those things. None of them. I am consciousness, and this form is the vehicle that consciousness is utilizing to provide the healing. The healing comes from consciousness, not me. I'm just the vehicle administering it. No different than the car or the seat you're sitting in when you're driving your car. It's just the seat that's provided for you, right? Nothing special, nothing unique. We're all sentinel beings in the light of Christ consciousness, and you are a unique snowflake. You're so precious. You're so beautiful. You're so loving. You're so kind, and you have so much to give. Now, ask yourself, if this person over here is my seeding, my mind shit, and I'm getting sick, and this person is feeding good stuff and I'm not getting sick, how come? You come to your own conclusion. And the second question is, say you're driving on the road and you hit a deer. You scuff it. You don't really kill it, but you scuff it. You scuff it good, and you know it gets limping and it looks hurt, but she's got a partner with her. And so you watch this animal, this wild animal, innately pull herself or hisself to wherever they need to and down the bank of the road. And they go off into nature, and this innate intelligence, this innate in healing that lies within each and every one of us, that has a heartbeat and that walks this planet from flowers to wildlife. It's in them, right? And no one is left behind. No one didn't not get theirs. Everybody has gotten theirs, and the call is universal. It's universal. So why is she showing me organisms, psychic stuff, and healing stuff? Because those are the modalities she's bringing in as 3. She's bringing in my herbs, my soaps, my healing, my Reiki, my nursing knowledge of the body, how to treat a patient, how to have bedside nursing care and compassion and empathy, bringing it in. And I am walking and co-creating with consciousness. All she's brought is the knowledge and wisdom I've gained in the years I've had to. And so when the teacher shows up, so will the student. When the student's ready, the teacher will appear, and vice versa. I'm still a student as well, and I will never not be a student. I will always be a student and a teacher, because that's the conundrum of life. That's the duality, the polarity. I can't know light without knowing the dark. I can't know yes without knowing no. I can't know good from not knowing evil. I have to know both sides, right? And so it's what's going on, and what she's showing me is that this universe, Gaia, is going through an evolutionary process of her own, upgrading, releasing what does not serve her, right? Power, money, and greed, damage coming to her property, destroying her trees and the oxygen and CO2 in her land, not being able to have our food sources without them being tampered with or fluoride put in our toothpaste or our waters to calcify the pineal gland and prevent consciousness from occurring in sentinel beings. There is a vast amount of knowledge out there about consciousness just from NASA and UFO alone, paranormal, paranatural, or anything that you want to come up with, where you could have a doubt and that you say there's something far greater than I running this planet, right? And this planet is an organism. And we're killing the organism. We're destroying her. We're destroying the organism. That's she's showing me, and that's Gaia's body. If we don't have an earth to live on and evolve and gain some wisdom of what we're doing with power, money, and greed, we will go extinct, and this planet will disappear again, like the big flood. The Bible says it's been destroyed and with water. The second, it will be destroyed by fire. We are that organism. We are birthed from Gaia, that macroorganism, and we are the microorganism down here on this planet. But where are we? We're walking in Satan's realm, in the lower realm. Satan's realm. That's where he is, because he got booted out of the kingdom of heaven for giving Eve an apple. And it wasn't just a simple apple, it was the fact that he entered deceit and negativity into the Garden of Eden. Now there's a polarity. Instead, there was none, only light and love. And so Satan brought in the dark and the deceit and the deception and the lies and the crap. And so he's down here running this realm, and spirits above running above. Why do you think the Bible says whatever is above will be below? What is within will be without. And I'll guarantee you, you'll pass his path if you've had an awakening, because he sits at the pearly gates. Before you get in, you got to go through him and admit all your stuff, and go through your dark night of the soul and cleanse and disentangle yourself. And it's going to be as easy or as hard as you make it, because you are that organism yourself. Your physical body is that organism, and that innate intelligence, that innate healing cannot take place in your body if you're running on fight flight, because your immune system is shut off. Your cortisol levels are probably sky high, inflammatory markers are turned on, and your telomeres are shortening by the day, which means shortening your life, right? Because every life form is this organism, from a flower to a bird to a human to a dog to a cat to anything that has a living, breathing heartbeat. So if this intelligence brings rise to thought, right? Because it wants something created, and thinking is mental static, right? Like I said, you don't have to engage every thought. It's like when you go and look at cars, you say, well, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. I don't like that one. I don't like that one, but I like that one. So maybe you could just walk it like a dog. Don't engage it. That's a pointer. And if you do it a few times, you'll begin to say to yourself, walk it like a dog, and it'll work. And you'll go, fuck, Star told me to do that, and I'm doing it, and it's working. It's not magic. It's habitual. You have to train yourself to do it, just like when you tied your shoe. You have to be vigilant because you're the organism, right? And that you are in that physical body. That physical body is a form. The form is not going to last forever, right? So the form is going to be replaced, in your soul will be placed in another. There's no death. There's no death because there's no birth. There's no beginning. There's no end. It's just a circle. It just keeps circling and circling and circling and circling and circling and circling. I'm telling you, like this kaleidoscope. You're just circling, baby. And we're the organism. And it's amazing. And this intelligence, it reacts to what the mind says or is saying. So this intelligence is going to react to what your mind is saying to you, what your thoughts are telling you. Those that create an emotion in your body, and then all of a sudden now you have a reaction going on and you see it being manifested in form in your life. It's automatic. We don't even see it. We don't beat our hearts, remember. We don't digest our food. We don't circulate our blood. It's an innate intelligence that does that for us. So you're simply just acting out what your mind is telling you. And it's simple, really, yet it's so goddamn hard. It's a conundrum. So I want to give you guys some modalities. I want you to use the tapping modalities. I've done the tapping here. You can use your fingers and you can spread your skull apart this way, all the way to your ears. And you can press down pretty hard. I do mine when I'm in the shower. And you go all the way up and you come down to the tops of your ears and all the way down and then come this way because of the optic chiasma that crosses in the back of your skull, right? That's why you're doing it this way. And then you can run this arm this way and run this arm this way. If you want to feel energy in your hands, you can go like this a few times, really, really fast. And then put your hands together and you can feel the energy. You can sweep energy off of you all the way down your body to your feet. You can crisscrawl, walk opposite arm, opposite foot. You can push the third eye and your belly button in and up at the same time, 3 times. You might feel like you're spinning like a top, right? You can take the K29 notches here. You can do tapping on the thalamus, but the notches are the little bumps, and you can massage the lymph nodes all the way out so that the lymph nodes drain in your arms and legs the way it's supposed to, and you don't build up a lymphatic disease. You can tap the thalamus. You can tap here, here, here. You can put your hand this way and tap here. You just hold your finger down. You can take a crystal like I've explained before, and you can place it over your chakras when you're laying down, and you can let it spin around your chakras in a counterclockwise way, because that's the way the chakras run, counterclockwise. They're supposed to spin, and one might not be spinning or might be spinning the opposite way. And so you can get it spinning in the right way. You can go outside and earth yourself in the soil or in the sand or in the grass in 10 minutes. The elements of the earth, the elemental table that we see in high school, all those elements lie on Gaia. And when you place your bare feet on the elements of Gaia, all those elements are brought into the body. And within 10 minutes, you're brought back to homeostasis, right? And you feel very good. As soon as you walk out of there, whatever the thought or the thinking static going on, the commentary, remember, it's the seed for the body. And so try to flip the switch, flick it like a booger. That's what I call it. If it's a negative thought, turn it to a positive one and flick that negative one like a booger and say, not today, baby. This is who I am today. And you can say things like that. You can say, I am this innate intelligence energy within me. And right now, rejuvenation, renewal is taking place in my cells within me. I am the light of Christ consciousness. You can do all those things. You can also do meditation. Some people say, meditation is not if you go into a cave somewhere and you meditate, you're not guaranteed to find consciousness. Okay. So meditation is just a modality to help you to quiet the commentary in the mind, the thing that you keep talking to yourself about. So that's the whole key. If you can calm the mind through some of these practices, maybe listen to some music, because if you don't meditate and that's not your dig and that's not what gives you solace, maybe working on the under a hood of a car with the radio playing in your garage, you're in bliss. Do that for at least 10 minutes a day to yourself. Go to yourself, come home to yourself for 10 minutes a day, and place your hands over your chest with your left one first and your thumbs connected, and feel your heart beat. Feel your hands, feel the energy that's running through you, right? You are the light of God. Use some sage and sage your house, sage your body once a week after you've taken a nice clean shower. Remember that emotion is energy in motion. So if you're out during the day and you are seeing an awful lot of people like I did, you're picking up a lot of other people's energies. And so when you come home, if you don't shower those energies off and brush them off you, they're going to be stored in the meninges within the body. And you're just going to have a stacking effect until you blow. And that little top that you keep winding up just goes and pops right off, right? And then you blow. So the intelligence that's in you, the innate healing, it cannot help you if you don't choose healing. One must choose. Remember, I told you the cross. This is the cross, right? The minute that they placed Jesus on the cross and crucified him for teaching the word of his Father, salvation, his Father does not confuse himself and his Son. He is one of the same, and stated, every sentinel being that is a child of mine will have everlasting life. The minute they decided to crucify his Son in form that walked this planet, consciousness said, everyone will have everlasting life. You crucified him for salvation, and he is I. And I don't confuse myself and my Son. I walked this planet, and that's what you did to me. So God knows what we go through. This is God. This is this universe, this whole matrix we live in. And you are an avatar, and you are the star of the movie. And you can pick your writers, your equipment, your job, your car, your kids, your wife. Fuck, you can pick what food you eat, what you want and don't want. This is the kingdom of heaven. Come to me, my child, and the kingdom of heaven is yours. Consciousness doesn't say, fix yourself and come to me. It says, come to me, my child. The minute you make a conscious choice to go to Creator, the healing and the awakening is done. It's already decided for you. It's quite a conundrum, and it's very hard to wrap your mind around. I understand that. But it's the honest to God's truth. So don't beat yourself up, and don't be hard on yourself. Just know that there's so many things that we think we're in control of that we're not. It's very simple. Flick it like a booger, walk it like a dog, walk the middle road by doing some of the modalities that I've suggested. Reach out to me for Reiki or someone in your area for Reiki. I do remote Reiki too. try any modality that helps you to center the mind, because the mind is what? Leave it in the comment section below, you guys. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for stopping in. So I'll stop talking now, and I'll ask if there's any questions that anybody wants to ask. Bonjour. Much love to you from Michigan. Hello, Michigan. I was born in Michigan. I love Michigan. How you doing, old school? So if you guys have any thoughts or any, ideas, or you want to hear about anything else, I figured with these emails I've been getting on thoughts and emotions and ego, I kind of wrap them all up in one video for y'all and let you guys chew on that information for a little bit. If you have any questions at all or you want to email me, please feel free to. They are always available in my tag section. How you doing, Paper? Hi, KS. Hi, Ganja. How you doing, sweetheart? I seem so dehydrated the last 3 days. I don't know if you guys are doing anything fun tonight, but the new moon is tonight, so you could do a new moon ritual. You could take all your crystals outside and all your tarot cards outside, and you can take all of your sage and cleanse your area and spring clean. You can put your water out and ask Spirit to bless the water during the full moon tonight. You can write in a little journal if you want. And some people say I have a really hard time writing in a journal. Namaste, Miss. That they can't write in a journal because they're afraid someone's going to read it. I always tell my clients, if you want to write something in a journal and you don't want someone to read it, you can write it and burn it. And then they'll say, well, maybe I want it. Maybe I want to keep it and look back on it. Well, why do you want to look back on the pain? There's no past. There's no past. All there is the now. And the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist. And so if you're cluttered with all kinds of past stuff in the now, how can Spirit bring anything in? You need to clean out the clutter of the past so that new can be brought into you. And so I always tell people, when I do my Reiki work, they don't see me drawing the kanjis, right? Because they're given to you in initiation when you're mastering up in the teaching, and they're secret. And so I draw them on the roof of my mouth. No one even knows I'm doing it except me and Creator, right? And my Mateo Sui, because I ask him for his assistance during the healing. So I would love it if you guys know of any questions or collaborations you'd like to do, or you want to talk about something else or another topic, or what kind of video you would like me to put out next. I'm happy to do that. I've answered the call. I'm a teacher of consciousness and a healer through the physical form that I house. And the healing is just a gift that's been given to me with the psychic ability to channel and read and go from unseen to seen, unseen consciousness. It's when I drum and do my shamanic healing and journeying, I bring back these tidbits of information, and during meditation she's showing me sacred symbolism, so I want to share as much as I can. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. I want to give you guys as much as I can when it's happening, and I know it's been a little sporadic, and as long as I'm on the topic, I might as well just address it. Things are not meant to be in our lives forever. Okay. And the things that I've done in my lifetime are things I've done. They're things that I do. They're my hobbies. They're my things that sometimes, if I'm not meditating and I'm just in my tent with my plants and I'm growing and I have some Beethoven on, I'm in bliss because I have my hands in the soil and I'm talking to wildlife, nature, plants, and they've saved my life. And they are a huge part of my awakening. And the god Shiva in Hindu Sanskrit brought cannabis to humanity for their pleasure. And she was a god. and it's written down. You can research it, you can look at it. And so people are wondering of other things that I used to do on my channel. I probably won't be doing a lot of that because Spirit's taking me in another direction. There are things she wants me to learn, people she wants me to meet, and things she wants me to see. Maybe I am needed in an area, not here, and she doesn't want me tied down in my home. And so I'm never going to stop doing the things I love and that bring me solace in my downtime. I will always do them. And that's my soaping and my growing. They will always be a part of my life because they are the two things that saved my life. And I think if I didn't have those things that I reached out to and the time that I reached out to them, I don't know that I would still be here. Because at one point in my life, I was ready to end it. And so understand that, me teaching as a teacher, I'm always going to do, and I'm always going to keep my hobbies and the things I love at my side, because I wouldn't be me if I didn't. And every person is unique, a unique snowflake, right? A unique snowflake, and they have unique talents and teaching to bring to the table. The curriculum is just different from the teacher's view. The dialogue that's being taught, identical. It's just the way I'm going to teach it. So it's the way she's asking me to teach it, through cards, through spirituality, through shamanic healing, through soul retrieval, through Reiki, through helping others heal, through healing with them. They heal and I heal. And it's that circle. It's that biofeedback loop, right? I'm sharing my love with them. When they get on my table, that's the first thing they say to me is that, I don't think that's my heartbeat. I think that's your heartbeat. And I said, it is, and you're beating to my circadian rhythm right now. It's okay. Just take a deep breath. And they take a deep breath and they're gone in la la land. And for like 55 minutes for the whole treatment. They don't even, and they do very strange things and say things and cry and move around, but they don't remember any of it because I have my hands on them and Spirit is working through me to heal them, and my focus is the client, right? It would be doing them a detriment if I was not focused on them. And I don't want to know what ails you, because then I would be focusing on the ailment. And so that I would be telling you that you're lacking something. And if you're lacking something, that's a detriment to you. So I won't do it. So I tell my clients, I don't want to know what's ailing you. You can tell me after the treatment, because Spirit gives me an intuitive hit and I go right to where I need to go and clear what needs to be cleared right when it needs to be cleared. And it's magic. It's magic. And I'm so honored to be a part of that. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that it's not me doing it, that it's Creator providing the healing. I made a choice for myself to heal, and look, I'm healing. I mean, I feel amazing. I feel love and peace and joy, and I'm rocking. And yeah, I have challenges just like everybody else does, and I take action when action's required, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And you can't ever go back once you've had this. So just, know that you can't see the unseen. Once you see, you can't unsee it. So you were at a point a few times in your life as well. Yeah, I think there's probably more. I think there's probably more people that feel that way or have had that thought themselves that just have not admitted it yet or don't want to admit it, because if you admit it, it's shameful, right? And I'll tell you, I was on my kitchen floor in my underwear, man, begging for God to take me or end it. And I know for a fact through my experience, God does not give us more than we can handle. And that's why sometimes you might see me down for a week, right? Because I've got a download or I've got some untanglement to do still. And my journey's only 3 years new. And so I'm on the hero's journey. And so now I'm prepared to, it seems, enter out into the world again. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what that brings me. I'm excited to see who I get to collaborate with and meet and share love and joy and harmony and healing with. And I'm going to mirror myself off them, and they're going to mirror themselves off me. And there may be a lesson they teach me, and I might teach them something. And that's how we evolve. That's how we evolve as human beings. And so I'm looking forward to what my next lesson is to learn and to help all the collective sentinel beings through this if they're struggling with this and how to get through it, because I didn't have anyone to help me. And so I really want to help as much as I can possibly help. So if you have questions or emails, keep them coming. I'm collecting and saving the emails. Thank you so much for sending me the emails. It means so much to me. I get myself a nice little tea in the evening and I print out all the emails and I sit there and I write on them, and it's just a pleasure to read your emails and to be able to respond back to you guys. So don't hesitate to leave an email or a message or anything like that. I'm here and I'd love to help if I can. I thank you all for stopping in and sharing your time with me. I know how valuable your time is. And we're all going through it with this cities opening back up since the COVID's released all the mask mandates. So I hope your families and you and your pets are all well, and that happiness, prosperity, joy, and love and light is coming to each and every one of you from my heart to your heart. Know that I love you guys so much, and that you humble me greatly by the support and love that you give to me and my channel. It's like you have your hand on my shoulder and you're pulling me through a rough time. So thank you for that. I appreciate you guys. Namaste, everybody. Namaste.